Well. That was an incredible comeback from the Arsenal. I very rarely do match reactions when I don't go to games, but I felt like this one was very much warranted. Final score at St James's Park, Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 2. We're going to go from back to front here. I thought we probably the best we've played all season, particularly in the Premier League, was very impressive today. Decisions didn't go our way. It's happened at St James's Park a few times, so yeah, that's kind of what you expect. But 10 minutes in, that penalty shout from Gyökeres, the fact that that was overturned, I was gobsmacked. I think even Gary Neville was shocked on commentary, and that's saying something. But yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't given. I was fuming. My head was hot at half time, people. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think I've been that infuriated over an Arsenal game in a very long time. We had chance after chance in that first half, and the one mistake we made, Christian Mosquera, who's had such a good season so far, obviously he came in for Saliba today, who was on the bench. He should have done better with the clearance away. Obviously, he's young, he's going to make mistakes. People forget already he's only 21 because of how good he's been when he was called upon instead of Saliba. But overall, he's been decent, but he made a mistake there, and the header was put away by the Newcastle striker, which I cannot pronounce his name for the life of me, so apologies, but he's, 6'4", whatever he is, and he's just really tall, and he got there ahead of Gabriel, who kind of went from zero to hero today because he went down like a sack of potatoes, and it was a slight push, which they were complaining about a foul, but not enough for me to be overturned. We go back to that penalty decision, though. Before that, I was absolutely gobsmacked with that decision. I thought he's only going to the monitor if it's a red card because it's last man. But no, it got overturned. And my mindset was watching it as a fan, was thinking, right, we move on now. But it got in our heads a little bit. We were rattled in that first half big time, particularly after Newcastle scored. And they obviously thought there was a foul, which there wasn't. And we just kept pushing. That first half, though, before Newcastle scored, was just sublime football. Eze could have had a couple. He was excellent. First time he's been in midfield for us in the Premier League, and that's where we should be playing him. He was absolutely sensational for us in that first half, and for the majority of the game, he was excellent. And, of course, Newcastle capitalised on our missed opportunities. Nick Pope, who had an absolute blinder, by the way, for Newcastle, particularly in that first half. Second half started, and to be honest with you, I don't think we came out the blocks well. And if anyone looked like scoring, it looked like it was going to be Newcastle. But the changes were made. Marino came on. I think it was for Trossard at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will in the comment section down below if I'm wrong about that one. And eventually, with 10 to go, Odegaard came on, and it was the Rice cross into Marino. And lovely header by Marino. He can be so clutch, particularly off the bench. I don't think him and Rice work together when they start. That Zubimendi, Marino and Rice trio in midfield, I think it's too defensive. He lacks a lot of creativity. But that's why you bring players off the bench to make a difference. We've seen Martinelli do it last couple of weeks against, City. And that's what he can do. He can do that. I know there was another team that we done it against, but my mind's gone completely blank. But yeah, anyway, so the goal, Marino scores. There's still 6 to go, plus added, which there was 8. Now people might be saying, how was now if there's 8 minutes injury time? Well, Livramento got stretched off, which is a shame because he's a really good fullback for Newcastle and potential England fullback as well, let's be honest. And he was stretched off. The kid is injury prone, and that did not look good for him. So, I'll wish him all the best. Hopefully he's that's not too long term. It doesn't affect, his World Cup ambitions in the summer. But we carried on, kept on pushing. Odegaard, sublime when he came on. He knows now that place is there for the taking. For a long time, Odegaard, he's been good for us, but he hasn't done enough for me to stay in the team. But we've never really had an ideal replacement for him to come on. So there's not really been much competition. But now Eze's there. It's going to raise his game because he knows he's got to put a shift in, even as the captain, if he wants to start for the club. And that's how it should be. Everywhere all over the pitch, the squad depth is beautiful, despite the injuries that we have suffered over the last few weeks. Odegaard, and I even said it during the game, as he was about to take that corner, I literally said, Odegaard on corners, he's never good on corners. And he completely shut me up because he crossed it in and big Gabby was there from 0 to hero in the 96th minute to get the winner. That could be... It's still very early days, people. It's still very early days, but that is a big, big goal. Particularly with all the late winners Liverpool have scored and the fact they conceded late yesterday with our old boy Eddie Nketiah scoring the winner for Crystal Palace. Big shout out to Palace, they've done brilliantly this season. But we had to capitalise. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't confident today. I really wasn't. I thought he'd get the team wrong. He didn't. He put Eze in midfield. I feel like maybe Martinelli should have started, but I understand because it's fresh legs. Against fresh legs, he's a killer, and he did well when he came on. Everyone put a shift in today. I know there was a lot of talk about handbrake off and on. Now, of course, I was at the game against City at the weekend, and to be honest with you, I couldn't really tell about the celebrations because obviously when you're in the ground, everyone's going nuts for a last-minute goal, especially if it's an equaliser or winner. It's not until you watch it back, of course, when you get home and you're like, okay, yeah, they probably should have grabbed the ball there, and they didn't. And, yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with Jamie Carragher a lot with what he says with his punditry. However, I thought he was spot on when he said it feels like Mikel Arteta wasted 45 minutes last week, and he did. We were awful in that first half, and I said it in the reaction last weekend against City. But today, it wasn't like that at all. The handbrake was off, if you like, and we played some really good stuff, and that's what we want to see on a week in, week out basis. It was brilliant football by the Arsenal, and despite the fact that it looked like decisions were not going our way, like it's happened against Newcastle in the past, we picked ourselves up, kept pushing, and we got the winner. Us against the world, absolutely excellent from Gabriel. He hasn't done it this season yet, but when we need a big goal and we got a corner, you always have a chance with Big Gabby in that box. Absolutely excellent. They kept fighting till the end. It's just another 3 points, obviously, but that's a massive, massive 3 points today with the teams that have dropped points to Liverpool. I don't think Spurs are in necessarily a title conversation, but I know it's been spoken about in the past. They, of course, dropped points. If you're looking about rivals, of course, United drop points, but they drop points every other week, if not every week. And Chelsea dropped points as well. That was probably bigger than the Spurs one, actually, with our old boy Danny Welbeck scoring. So it was a perfect weekend, and even my local football team, Biggleswade United, got a massive result of the weekend as well. So big shout out to Kane and the lads for that big victory yesterday. But I wasn't expecting it today. I really wasn't. And we got the result. That's all that matters. And we played well, which I haven't said much this season. I'm going to wrap it up here because I've rambled on for a little bit too much there. But, if you want these match reactions when I'm not at the game, let me know in the comments down below. And also like the video if you have enjoyed. They left it late, but in the end, it was great. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'll be at the Olympiacos game this coming Wednesday for a live reaction of Arsenal versus Olympiacos. So, yeah, you got that to look forward to. My first Champions League game of the season. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care. And we'll see you next time. Up the Arsenal.